our next sewing project is Simplicity 9292. It's this one. Dress with the mandarin collar and skirt. It looks a lot like a Cheongsam, which I've been wanting to try to make for a while. So we're making it. Specifically, we're making this for my cousin's wedding, because I am getting to go to a wedding for the first time in actually for the first time, full stop. Yeah, so for this pattern, I decided to use some batik fabric that I found at my grandma's house when we went over to Singapore to visit or to attend her funeral or to clean out the flat after Grandpa had passed. One of those. But yeah, it's this beautiful red batik with like lovely white and black pattern, and it's got like bamboo on it, and it looks really good. And so I thought that would be amazing for this outfit. Like I said, I'm doing the pencil skirt option. I was gonna do like the full circle skirt, but I didn't have enough fabric for it because this this is an upcycled fabric. It used to be a sarong. So batik sarongs, they're traditional Indonesian Malay outfits. Batik is a traditional Malay Indonesian fabric. It is patterned using wax that you put onto fabric, and then you dye the fabric, and the bits that have wax on them don't get colored. And so that's what happened with this fabric. It's very nice. Sarong is a specific type of skirt. It's basically a tube of fabric that is then wrapped around you and held in place with a kosang, I believe it is. It's like a belt. So for this, I basically cut up a sarong to make this outfit that looks like a cheongsam, which is again another traditional, more closer to a Chinese outfit. So I get to wear this again for Chinese New Year next year, which is always great. Reusing things. Some notes before we start actually sewing. This fabric is very thin. I don't know if I'm going to need a lining. We will find that out. Also, I'm going to Singapore. It's going to be hot. I really hope I don't need to line this. I don't think I will. As we know, I will be doing mock-ups the whole way through because I do not know if this waist will fit me. But that's what mock-ups are for. Well, not mock-ups, but trying it on. So the skirt is going to have the most pattern. That's how I organize the fabric. The bodice is going to have just a little bit of pattern on it. Yeah, so it's mostly going to be bare at the top, but then have the pattern near the bottom, which I thought would look really nice. It has a zipper on the side, but it also will open at the mandarin collar side in a crossover, like most cheongsams do. I got the facing pieces out of whatever I had left, basically. So, oh yeah, and then the sleeves are just normal, plain and normal sleeves. I thought that would look nice if they were just plain. Facings cut out of what I had left. And then the actual collar, I'm going to interface it because interfacing a collar is actually a really good idea. So I'm just using a plain sew-in interfacing because I didn't want to use an iron-on interfacing because it would probably end up being too stiff, and knowing me and my own tactile preferences, I would not want something that stiff against my neck. So yeah, it will be sew-in interfacing because it is less rigid. It has more give to it. There are going to be maybe a couple little pieces of bamboo that show up on the collar, which I thought was really cute. It does need frog clasps or traditional Chinese knot buttons, and I was going to go to Spotlight and get them, but Spotlight only has two options: bright red and black. And the black ones are tiny. I fear they're just going to look ridiculous. And my fabric is closer to like a raspberry color, and so bright red would just clash. So I went onto Amazon and I bought a set of white frog clasps. I think that would help to bring out the white in the batik pattern. Which then means I get to bind off the edges of my piece with white bias binding. I just think that would look a lot nicer than having to go out and, you know, buy a whole new set of bias binding. Also, fun fact, this is made in Singapore, so this is going to be a fun thing to do. I need to rethread my sewing machine with my red thread because it is currently still threaded with the green from the birthday outfit. And I'm probably not going to do any sewing right now because I am tired. This is going to be cut out of the video. So let's get sewing. So to start off, I stitched the collar to ensure that it stays in place when I go to put the bias binding onto it afterwards. This just ensures that everything stays lined up so that I don't have to use so many pins. Also, it's what the instructions told me to do. Next we stitched some darts. I started with the darts in the bodice, so there are 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and then there are darts in the skirt as well. This is shoulder seams. Just sewing some shoulder seams together. Next we are stay stitching this neckline area. This will keep it from stretching out when I am messing around with it, which is actually really useful. Now we're going to sew the bias binding to the collar. So you unfold it and stitch it to the inside of the collar first. The good thing about bias binding is that it is on the bias, so it's a bit more flexible. It's very useful. And then you trim away all the excess fabric so there's less bulk. After that, you fold over the bias binding to encase all the raw edges and stitch that down. For some reason the bias tape kept missing out. Then we're going to sew the collar onto the neckline of the bodice. Stitch the facing to the neckline of the bodice and the collar as well. Putting some bias trim onto the faced parts of the bodice to continue the white stripe from the collar. Side seams. Side seams on the skirt. bodice to the skirt. The zipper, which is done with a zipper foot. So overall, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out, I think. I have I'm in a bad place to take pictures. Because I can't see very well. Don't mind Becky in the background, ignore her. I'm covering her if you can't see her. So yeah, this turned out great. It's a little bit tight in the hips, but like traditional Cheongsams are supposed to be quite tight in the hips. So it's perfectly fine. It has a bit more room in the top than I thought there would be. And the only issues I really had were I had to take out a lot of the darts in the waist because they just wouldn't fit. Also, for some reason, I cut the bodice in reverse. So the closure is on the opposite side to where the pattern says it should be. I have no idea how that happened, but it happened and we're just gonna go with it. I'm really happy with how the binding turned out on the sleeves here. I ended up having to hand sew them, so if you look really closely you'll see the hand stitching, which I think is fine anyway. I did hand sew the frog clasps. I think they look really good. I think the white really does pull in a lot of the batik work in the skirt, which is a really good thing. Yeah, and I think the way I handled the pattern worked really well. I do think I probably should have gone with a different colored zipper, but what's done is done, right? I machine sewed the hem just because I couldn't be bothered to hand sew it down, and there was a slit. And Estelle is going crazy. And like the collar isn't connecting properly. It's supposed to connect like that, but that would choke me. So this is actually better. And I can sit in it, which is also really, really good because it's kind of the whole purpose is to be able to sit in it. So now I'm gonna attempt to zoom you out just a smidge so that you can see the full. The full thing, just slit here, room to move. I'm very happy with it. Yeah. Yeah, so if I make this again, I would probably add some measurement to the waist in the bodice, maybe like 5 centimeters, and a little bit in the hips because like I said, they're a bit tight. Otherwise, really good. Yeah, I would love to make this again. There's some more batik fabric that we got from my grandma's, so I will most certainly be making more of these because they're very fun and comfortable. Maybe with a different skirt pattern if I had more fabric. But yeah, now I know how to make this myself. I don't need to go out and buy cheongsams. I can just make them. I'm so happy. I have, I think, 18 more of these frog clasps that I bought from Amazon, so I could make a whole collection. I could make some for my sister. I could make some for my mum. It's gonna be cool. I do think the gathered skirt version would have a bit more width in the hips, but you know, I can crouch, I can sit, I'm happy. And this fabric is fitted enough that it's not going to boil me alive when I go to my cousin's wedding, so that's a good thing. I'm going to wear this Chinese New Year next year as well, so this is fun. Thank you for joining me on this, and don't actually know what my next sewing project is.